Well, hey guys, it's great to see you again. I hope you all have having a great week. I know today's Monday. I'm a day late on my video, but it's okay. We had a busy weekend. Went to a concert and things like that, so it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the what I want to talk to you guys today about is something I've been thinking about over the past week. I'm a historian. As I mentioned last week, I'm pursuing my degree in church history, and my undergrad is actually in history, so I've always loved the past. And one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is this idea of, I mean, I guess we it's kind of reminiscing the past, but going back and kind of doing some self-discovery on some things that I used to do when I was in school back in college. I mean, I'm approaching 20 years. Actually, this is year 20 that I've it's kind of weird that 20 years ago I started my undergrad, now I'm starting my PhD, but um, there's things that I did as a student back then that I never really gave much thought to, or even ideas that I would pursue. Mainly just because I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything else. The internet at the time was I mean, it's not in its infancy, but it's high speed internet, especially was. I mean, I remember, we still had dial up internet at the house. And when I went to college, we had cable internet, which, high speed internet, which is great. So, I didn't really know better in a lot of things of as far as, ways to study or ways to interact with people. I mean, gosh, internet is a smorgasbord of you can find anything about anyone, about any topic, any idea, anything you want to know. Just Google it or get on YouTube, and you'll find it being discussed. It's crazy. So it can make it kind of confusing too, because you don't really know where to even start. You don't even know where to begin when you're trying to learn something new or trying to get a new idea, a new habit, created, whatever that is. It can be very challenging, very, I mean, really discouraging, because you find all these ideas that you go, man, I don't know if any of these will work. I don't know if any of these will be actually what I need. And so it, it, it got me to raise this question, and the question simply is, has social media, has social media influencers really helped us? I know that seems kind of counterintuitive because, I mean, the idea of having this channel is to, give you guys some advice, some wisdom, to kind of share my journey about going through my PhD. So I guess in a sense, I'm kind of a social media influencer myself. However, I think we really need to ask this question. The people that we follow, whether it be on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, your medium choice, are those people good? Is what they have? Does it bring value to our life? Right? Does it bring joy? Does it bring actual value where we are growing and learning as adults, or young adults? Whatever it is, do these things bring value? And this really started when I was thinking, when I was beginning my PhD. I was trying to find and think through, okay, what are some of the best ways to study, right? What are some of the best ways to take notes? There's digital notes, there's analog notes. There are countless apps and resources out there on how to do what's called a Zettelkasten system, which I've gone down that rabbit hole. Trust me, to where, should you just use Apple Notes? Should you pay for Evernote? All these things. It just goes on and on and on. And it got me thinking, has those things really brought value to my life? Has that idea, or trying to find people to give me this information, has it really added value? And the reason I ask that question is because I keep going back and finding that a lot of these things just, I would try them for a while and they wouldn't stick, they wouldn't work, they wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. And so then I felt hopeless, right? Because I felt like, man, I don't even know what to do. So I went back to thinking, like, what did I do when I was a student in college? 20 years ago, and what did I do? My simple way of taking notes was still in a 5 subject notebook that you still can go to Walmart and buy today. You would have I used legal notepads, the yellow page flip over for my research. I just found that to be very helpful, very easy to do. It wasn't something that someone influenced me. It's just something I found that worked well for me. It worked best. Never once did I ever think, okay, I need to find the perfect system. I need to find the best idea. No, I found what worked and what provided the necessary tool or resources for me to get A's, or B's. I mean, I wasn't A student by any means. I was an A B student, but so that really got me thinking about today's culture where we have social media influencers that are constantly trying to, share these new ideas with us, even though I think their intent, the intentions are good, right? I mean, we're all just trying to share knowledge. However, when we are consumers, because that's what we are now in the digital age, we are consuming this information. Never do we ask ourselves, does this solve a problem? We just go ahead and consume it, try to find, how does this really work, right? And then when it doesn't work, then we feel like, oh my gosh, now I gotta find something else, right? We don't spend enough time really thinking, like, I guess we don't spend enough time with ourselves, right? We don't spend enough time thinking about our own, like, ideas, our own problems. We don't spend enough time doing the things that just comes naturally to us, right? Nobody had to tell me, Brett, go buy a yellow, notepad and take your research notes on that. Nobody told me to do that. I just started doing it, and it worked. It's great. And so, I never had this sense of, FOMO, the fear of missing out. I never had that in my mind in 2005, right? That just wasn't on my radar. And so, because social media influencers have, it's changed how we interact today with media. That's why I raised that question. Does it really help us? Is it beneficial? Does it really add value to our lives? And so another caveat to this is, not only is it information, but is it, the consuming of products, right? So many influencers have affiliate links. I've tried affiliate links in the past, didn't have enough traction, but that's okay. There are always, businesses are trying to get you to buy their product, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's just business, right? We live in a capitalist society. So, I mean, hats off to them for wanting to sell a product. There's a lot of great products out there. I'm using several of them right now, right? But when we value social media influencers, when we value their opinion, when we value what they have to offer, then we think, okay, unless I have what they're offering, then my life is not complete, right? Or, if I don't get this one tool, if I don't get the right pen, if I don't get the right notebook, then I'm not going to be successful. And this has allowed so many of us to go down this rabbit hole of trying to find, at least maybe it's just me. Maybe you all like, man, Brett, I don't have no idea what you're talking about. I don't struggle with this at all. Maybe this is just my problem, and that's okay. But maybe you're thinking, okay, until I have this product, this pen, this paper, this computer, this iPhone, whatever it is, I'm not successful, or I can't do what I want to do. I can't complete the objectives of my life, or meet the goals, so to speak. And I just don't think that's right. I think there are so many, there's so many things in our lives today that influence in such a negative way. When I was a college student, I went got my bachelor's in '05 to '09, graduated in '09. I never had something in front of me, because I mean, this is how the internet's changed. I never had something always in front of me telling me that unless I have this, or hey, you should use this pen or this notebook because I have found I really like it, which is fine. I never had this sense of fearing of missing out, because the yellow notepad legal paper worked. I just needed a pen. Now, I will say I'm still a user of my favorite pen, the Pilot G2-7. I know there's some G2-5s guys out there, but I love the 7s. I primarily write with fountain pens now, but I still have a whole bundle of G2-7s. I have one right here, actually. So there are tools in which that you discovered before social media influencers that you found because you had a problem, right? You had a problem and you needed a solution. Today, we get on the internet and we don't have problems. All we find are solutions to problems that we are told that we have, problems that we are told that we think that we should solve. I don't know. I'm a journaler. I've been journaling most of my life, probably more consistent over the past 5 years than I ever have been. But I don't have to have somebody tell me that journaling is going to change your life. I think writing just comes naturally to some people than others. I think if writing came naturally to everybody, we would have millions and millions and millions upon journals out there from people from the past. But we don't, because a lot of people just aren't writers, and that's okay, you know. Um, but this idea that to think that unless I write, or at least unless I journal, then my life is not fulfilling, that's just false. I encourage people to write. I think writing's great. I think journaling's great. Even just a paragraph a day, I think, can really impact your life. I do really do believe that. But it's okay if you're not. It's okay if you're not a reader. I think reading is great. I love reading too. But if you're not a reader, that's okay. Don't let someone tell you that you're less than because you don't do something they're trying to offer. Don't fall into the bait and switch thinking that if I don't have this product that they're using, then I am never going to reach my goals. I'm never going to fulfill and be filled with joy and to find satisfaction. That's my message today. Don't fall for the idea from social media culture that you have to do this or be that to solve all your world's problems, to to meet your goals that you don't even know that you have goals yet. Um, I want to encourage you to spend more time thinking for yourself, sitting in a quiet place. I mean, it feels great outside today. Fall is finally here. I'm thankful for that. But spend some time just with yourself, your own ideas, and you'll realize that you already have many of the tools that are solving the problems for you. You realize that you don't need all these extra things to fulfill. You just will, and it's great because you find the freedom in not always having to feel bombasted by this. From all these people on the internet that are trying to give you this new idea for software, or to give you this new book to read, because unless you read this, then you're not going to be like that. You know what I mean? There's all these things out there, and I just want you to take a moment. I mean, I'm almost 40 years old, right? And if you're around my age, go back about 20 years and think about your time then, your life then. You weren't influenced. You weren't kicking around all these crazy, these ideas of these, problems that you didn't think that you didn't have, but now you think you have. Go back to simpler times. And for young people out there, I want to encourage you: don't get caught up in the scroll. I'm just going to call it that. Don't get caught up trying to find the next dopamine hit, because it's never going to satisfy your heart. It's never going to satisfy your soul. It's just not. So that's my 2 cents for today. Those are some things that I've been thinking about, something to give you guys some thought to. Don't fall for the trap. But I want to end today on the book of the week, which today is called, the book is called The Intellectual Life by A.G. Sertalangas. I think I probably butchered that. But anyway, he is I believe he's a Catholic priest. This book actually came out in 1920, believe it or not. But this book is often referenced in a lot of your self-help books. I know Cal Newport, he referenced it in Deep Work, which actually I missed the first 2 times I read Deep Work. But it wasn't until a friend was talking to me about this book. Man, fantastic ideas on pursuing a life, into intellectual life. And what's great is, because it was written in 1920, it's not bogged down with all the modern jargon of digital, the digital world. It's great. So recommend this. And also, since he is a Catholic priest, it has a spiritual side to it too. So as a Christian, I really did enjoy that. And if you're a Christian, you would as well. But I think everybody will. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. You're going to enjoy this book. It is a nonfiction book, so if you're a fiction reader, pick this up. It might help you out. Might get you to think a little bit more about, how can I pursue a life of being an intellectual. I can't even say that word. I'm not even going to try again, but that's okay. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see y'all next time.